I have found the name of my dream orchestrator right now. His name is Seth, and I have two new dreams where I directly interact with him, but I need to talk about some basic information first so that I sort of make sense, as if any of this, makes sense. In one of my first videos, I asked a female character what happens when we die, and she says I would need to talk to Seth. When I awakened, I looked up who Seth was and couldn't find anything online. Since then, which that was about 2 years ago, I have stumbled across many things. I have learned about inner energies and meditation. I have learned about sacred chants. I have learned about even crazier things like MK Ultra mind control, and what I have found interesting about MK Ultra is that the people who are brainwashed have handlers. Handlers are those who control and look out for them. Such as when a celebrity is asked a certain question, there are videos where they look to their handlers for reassurance. This behavior reminds me of the way my lucid dream characters act sometimes when I ask them questions, such as in a previous video when I asked a female character who was pretending to be my mom or who was playing my mom a question. She looked at the front door where a humanoid fish man was looking in, and he scratched one side of his face, and I looked back over at the person playing my mom, and she was also scratching that side of her face. It seemed as though she was being controlled by him and that she was in great fear of him. Now that that info is out of the way, here are my two new dreams about Seth. I was in a van in the dream, and I became lucid. I asked the characters to point out their handler. A guy appeared in the back right seat of the van. He was looking down with a black hat on. He seemed to be sort of dressed like a member of the Beatles, something like a dapper looking guy from the 60s. I said, "Hello, are you the orchestrator?" He looked up. He had a cane and circle-shaped glasses. He was talking low, so I told him to speak up. He said he was the orchestrator. I said, "Is there someone over you? Is there a main boss?" He said that there is someone over him, and he was very angry to have to talk to me. He was very short with me. He seemed like, "I can't believe I have to talk to you. You need to move along," kind of just short-tempered type of attitude and mood being projected towards me. I looked down at some writing that was on his cane, and it said Seth. I then asked him how I was doing in my dreams, and he said I was nowhere near where I am expected to be, that I have fear, anger, and hatred, and he enjoyed telling me this. I said, "So is that why you make me dream about my mother?" Because I hold a lot of fear, anger, and hatred towards her and situations that she has put me through. He laughed and said yes, and that I fall for it every time. I told him that that was fair enough, but I will not fall for it anymore, which, this is me talking in real time now. This isn't entirely true. I have fallen to hatred and anger in many dreams about her since, but I am getting better about seeing, oh wait, this is one of those dreams, I need to walk away. Okay, back to the dream. The scene changed drastically. Seth became the character Red 2, which in a previous video I have put on here, that's the character that scares me the most. It is a cartoon version of the devil. And we were no longer in the van. We were out in this outdoor dining area with high gates and flowers everywhere. He came around the corner and I started laughing and I said, just because you changed doesn't mean I'm not lucid anymore. So I guess I am no longer afraid of the character Red 2 because I know who plays him now. And I know it's just a test to scare me back into not being lucid anymore. I had that dream about 2 months ago. Since then, I have been watching more MK Ultra mind control videos for fun. I just like learning different people's opinions. And I came across a discussion where Max Spears talked about the Illuminati. He talked about the symbolism that celebrities do to show their allegiance to the Illuminati, or to show that they're under mind control, that they're being controlled by an entity. They may not be proud to be doing these things, but they're just doing it because that's what they're trained to do. One thing that they do is a triangle shape with their hands, and then they look through it with one eye, just like how on our dollar bill there is a pyramid on it with an eye going through it. Max Spears went on to explain why they do this. He said it is to taunt the Egyptian god Horus, and that Seth took his eye, and now Seth, who can also be seen as the devil, is now in control of this reality. So when we are a slave to money, we are a slave to Seth. And when celebrities and other people use this triangle eye symbolism, it is declaring to Horus that, ha ha, we still have your eye. So the world will remain in chaos until the eye is returned to Horus. I want to show a picture of a dream catcher that I made 2 years ago. I started wondering why I made it and why I called it the Dream Orchestrator. At the time, I knew I had a dream orchestrator, but I thought it was the humanoid fish character or the twins. You would have to watch previous videos to understand these references. I was faintly familiar with the term Seth, but never came across putting together that Seth in my dreams was the orchestrator, or that the Seth that I learned about when the character was like, you have to ask Seth. I didn't think anything of that as being my orchestrator. I let that go. So now when I see this dream catcher in my room, I think about what Max Spears said. The symbolism of the eye inside of the pyramid is Seth mocking Horus. So in essence, my subconscious knew that Seth was my dream orchestrator all along. All of my dream catchers are circles with feathers, but for some reason I felt compelled to make the one that represents my dream orchestrator look like this, with the triangle and the eye. I figured this out yesterday and it totally blew my mind. I did several exercises throughout the day to make sure that that night I would be focused enough to call Seth into my dream for the first time by his name. Online, I looked up Seth as an Egyptian god and saw that he has to bring chaos, but that he is not innately bad, even though he laughs at me for holding anger and not being where I should be in my dreams. I see it as a tough love sort of character. If he were not there to show me my mother in my dreams, I would never know how much hurt and anger I still have towards her, because I no longer associate with her anymore. So I just kind of push it all back and keep trying to move along. But even though it is painful, it makes you want to hate him for showing you these things. It's necessary to show that I still have these feelings inside of me. So this is my dream from last night, after finding out all this and realizing all this. I found myself in a lucid dream and tried to acknowledge my chakras. When I made the tho noise, the characters became afraid of me and covered their ears. One even said, "Oh my God, what is she doing?" What I mean by the tho noise You put the tip of your tongue between your teeth as you say tho. It sounds like tho. And as I do this, I can feel a sensation in my chest because it is supposed to activate your heart chakra. I guess you would have to look up on YouTube exactly how to do it. It's hard to explain because I don't show my face and where my tongue is and etc. on these videos. But I just try different experiments in my dreams for fun to see what will happen. And it seemed as though doing this noise or this type of chant or whatnot really bothered the dream characters. I also tried to remember the May chant. This is supposed to acknowledge your third eye. It's like a high-pitched way of saying May. It's like May. And I could go longer than that, but it goes, there's a sensation in my forehead. I don't know why, I can't explain these things. When I do, and there's like a burning now still in my forehead even after I've done that. Even after I don't know how to explain it. It just, I don't know. Now I'm frazzled. Anywho, so I tried to remember the May chant but couldn't and started to get confused because accessing information from this reality and trying to push it into the dream world in a timely manner with still being lucid and not being swept up in the dream again is really hard. And so I started to get confused because I couldn't remember May, and I started making all sorts of noises, but they weren't the real noises, and I just almost became unlucid and started to fall for the dream again. The scene changed really quick, but I managed to stay lucid. There was a window. I pushed myself through the glass, and then there was another window. I pushed myself through that window 4 times, and 4 more windows appeared, and I seemed to be alone in this room with no characters, and I was trapped in this dream by myself in this room. Now that I am awake, I think it may be because I caused some sort of thing to become unstable in the dream, and I was being put in time out. They do this to me sometimes. Whenever I do certain things, I get put alone in like this empty world where it's just boring and I'm stuck there until I wake up. And so I became frustrated because I really didn't want to get stuck in this room until I woke up. And so I finally remembered, oh yeah, you have to call Seth. That's what you've been talking about all day, is when you finally become lucid in your dream tonight, you need to call Seth. And so I called for Seth, and he came at first with a black pigeon head in a human body. The black pigeon head still had the circle 60s glasses on it, and he was looking down and he was in the shadows, and I asked him to please change his form because I don't want to talk to a guy with a black pigeon head. It's just not my thing. He changed into 3 people. They were 3 southern women. One was a blonde, and she was in her late 30s. She was about 160 pounds. She was the one that did the talking. So I refer to her as Seth because that's what she is. I told Seth that I was lonely and demanded to share dreams with another real person. Seth said that I was not ready. I looked to other characters in the dream and said, I'm tired of these empty people. I know that they're not real, because at that point the scene changed and now we're somewhere else and there's characters everywhere now. He said, well, what do you mean? I said, I want to meet another that is like me, a real person in lucid dreams. I want us to meet up in dreams so that I can have someone to talk to. And so then we started walking down a hall. I said that I was sorry that you are seen as a bad guy. I know that you are necessary and that you are misunderstood. But I also think that it's time that you give Horace his eye back. We were standing next to a foosball table. It's the table with the little soccer players and the handles. There's a part above the table where there's numbers that you can slide back and forth to keep score. On that table was the little gem that I use as the eye that's inside of my dream orchestrator dream catcher. It was sitting on the table instead of being inside of the dream catcher. It turned red and it started glowing. Seth screamed, "We have to go now." It seemed like there was something that was coming. There was like an impending force or fear that was coming into the room. He grabbed me and pushed me through many walls in many rooms, and then I was thrown into my bed and instantly woke up and started writing all of this down. Now that I am awake, I don't really know why I asked Seth if he could bring a real person into my dreams to talk to. I just sort of panicked when he showed up, and that was the first thing I could think to say to him. I mean, it would be nice to have a real person to talk to in my dreams rather than an empty, airheaded dream character, but genuinely, I would prefer to have Seth or another ascended spirit to talk to and ask questions to. I don't really need another person. I deal with three-dimensional humans all the time. It would be a waste to call one of these humans into a dream and just have more regular human, exchanges while in the dream state. Also, now that I am awake, it seems that Seth was trying to protect me from Horus, or protect me from something when the eye started glowing. But then again, he could have just been getting rid of me to make sure Horus couldn't give me any richer information. Who knows? That's why I have this channel, to share all the craziness with others and to get it off of my mind.